Happy Labor Day, friends. Happy September. Happy uh, transition into next episode of life. Because it's a holiday weekend, for reasons I don't need to explain too much, I was able to revisit a spiritual meeting that has been one of my favorites for 20 years called Spiritual Fitness. Because of where I moved, they have a house gathering Sunday nights. So it's a requirement and I want to follow the rules. So I had to discontinue my attendance at my favorite spiritual meeting. But on these 3-day weekends, the house meetings are canceled. So I got to go see my friends last night, and much to my chagrin, the meeting was thriving without me. How dare they? But it was packed to the rafters, and there was much spiritual fitness being exuded everywhere, which meant everybody was bringing a lot of ideas. But I got to see a good gal pal of mine, and she really requested that we go to the most spiritual place of all after the meeting so that we could chat and update. So, of course, that's Nation's Hamburgers. Now, she suggested Nation's Hamburgers on Sunday I've been fasting of late. So nothing like going where there's burgers and fries and tacos and pie and, you know, large servings of everything, good American sized servings. So we went to Nations and I got to watch her order breakfast. So bacon and eggs. Anyway, I'm somewhat digressing, but we got to have a good spiritual meeting. And I hadn't seen her for a month and a half, and she's been moving, or I've been moving, and she's been in a great deal of flux, Flux, flux. Sounds almost like an expletive, doesn't it? It's almost an expletive in terms of what it does to us, but it flux with us. Sorry, but the something's going on at work, something's going on with an injury, something's going on in her almost concluded divorce, something's going on in a new romantic possibility, something's going on in every conceivable area. And just the she had a good attitude and positive, and for maybe 20 minutes I just listened. You know how it is when you get together with a friend and you let friends spew it out, and we don't try to correct or to judge or to offer advice, or at least not yet. We listen, and so a lot of listening went on. And so she goes, "Do you have any thoughts on all this?" And I was like, "Wow, you're really in flux. There's so much. The pot is so stirred. So much is going to happen. So all this is going to shape into something new and wonderful. And of course, it feels unsettling and shaky in the moment. And boy, can I relate with what's going on in my life." And well, she said, "Well, yeah, but I'm missing a lot of clarity, and it feels really vague." By the way, I'm keeping this completely anonymous because sometimes she listens to this message, and I adore this person, and I would never want to violate someone's anonymity. I'm telling this story in the most general possible sense for the message that I got from it, that we got from it, and that we can all get from it. But we kind of realize that how much we want to hang on to our own will. And of course, this brings up the third step in the recovery movement, which is not exclusive to the recovery movement, which is very simply put, how much are we willing to turn our life and our will over to the care of God? And as I like to say, do I want to be in God's will, or do I want to be in my rich Aunt Martha's will? Which one's really going to pay off? Which one do I think is better? And, from my worldly materialistic mind, give me the cash, basically. And so, there's always another level of turning our life and our will over to the care of God. It seems to me that it really exists on a spectrum. From the bottom would be a pure atheist, Christopher Hitchens, for example, who the idea of turning his life and his will, his volition over to a higher power, is the most antithetical thought that he could ever think. On the other hand, there are those for whom turning their life and will over to the care of God is the greatest, most conducive, most aligning, most beautiful, most harmonious, most intelligent thought that they could ever think. Wow, what a spectrum that is, isn't it? But wherever we fit on that spectrum, whether we choose to ignore or to resist or to even deny anything to do with God's will, or where we wish to move up a scale and trust it to the fullness of our being, there's always room for movement. So we both realized all the flux that we were in, and it was uh, it was having its way with us. We got really spiritual at Nation, and we put our hands over the top of each other, and we both said, right here, right now, we're willing to let go of as much resistance as we could. We were willing to go deeper into ourselves than we ever have, and we were willing to make that decision and to elevate that thought that God's will is better than anything that we could think of for ourselves, and to let go of some of the control, the fear, the worry, and to simply surrender deeper than ever. And that's what we've done in that moment. And that's the thing about that prayer. It can be prayed anytime, anywhere, at any time, and a simple innocence, willingness, open-mindedness, and deep trust that God's will is the best. So we'll talk about this topic all week long. Happy Labor Day. No laboring, no laboring. Maybe one of the greatest benefits of God's will is that it takes away the struggle and the efforting and the miserable, life-defeating angst and anxiety. And if it's God's will, how can it not happen? It's a train we can get on that can only take us to greater good. And I'd love to get on that train with you. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you tomorrow.